Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, today, what I want to talk to you about is creating a resume. Now, depending on your chosen field and industry and the type of position you're looking for, some of these things may change, but the general premise will remain the same. And for me, I have done a lot of work in cybersecurity. Again, this channel is all about cybersecurity. So, I wanted to take the time to kind of show some of my peers and other colleagues and professionals how a resume can look when you're just lost on how you should format it or what information you should include. So, for starters, the top of the resume should always include your name and preferably at least your full name. Here I have John Doe, but if it were to be somebody else, you can have John Smith. You have your middle initial in there. I do recommend if you're a junior, a second, a third, or something like that, you add that in there as well. Just because a lot of times people can get confused if they're trying to find you on LinkedIn or any other method. If they don't have that full name, they can get lost. Now, following that and under there, you want an email. Now, what I recommend is you have an email address set up that is just for work purposes if you're looking for a job. So you only want something that's not going to get spam, that'll actually just get resume or application responses or anything like that. And then your phone number, that's a bonus. You definitely want that there. That way they can reach out. If you're dealing with any recruiters or headhunters or anything of that nature, it gives them a method to contact you. LinkedIn, a blog, and a YouTube channel. Now, this is all on your personal preference. Not everybody has LinkedIn, and I'm okay with that. That's completely up to you. Now, I do find it a good place to network and meet others, not only in your field, but try to connect with some of the higher level people that may be doing the hiring. And that way you can introduce yourself and who knows? Sometimes you might get lucky and they may have a job coming down the line and give you a shot. And then if you have a blog, a YouTube channel, a GitHub, whatever the case may be, anything that's going to set you apart. I put all those. I personally put all those links in the top. That way, if you want to find me, if you want to find something I'm working on or what I'm doing, you can find it there. Then following that and below that, as you can see, I have here cybersecurity professional. So depending on the job you're looking for, you may change the title. All right. So I have their cybersecurity professional just because I don't necessarily care when I was applying for jobs the type of role. All right. I wasn't necessarily looking for an engineer role or an offensive security role or what have you. It really didn't matter to me. So I wanted it more generalized to fit all of cybersecurity. And then in there you put what your experience is, what your knowledge base is, and really what your style is, and kind of word that in such a way that it'll match the position you're looking for. So you generally want to put in how many years of experience you have in whatever field you're going for, and anything that has led up to that. So if you're going for security and did work in help desk, system administration, networking, anything like that, you would include that in there as well. And that's just a benefit to the hiring managers that may look at this resume and see, oh, you only got 2 years of experience in security, but leading up to that you had 10 years of networking, or 5 years of networking and 7 years of help desk and sysadmin work. So it shows your progression and shows that you're not just brand new to the IT industry itself. Now we go below that, and so I changed this up recently. I've asked some others for what their resumes look like that are higher up than me, so some CISOs, a few directors, things of that nature. When I originally was sending out my resume, I had my education and achievements actually at the very bottom of my resume. I figured they'd want to see job experience before they saw all that. But looking at everybody else who has been able to get further ahead in their careers and has been around and has hired people, they've all actually moved that up, and it's right under that summary. So here you have, if you have any degrees, and you can break this up even more. You can have a section just for education, so what your degrees were or are, and then a section just for certifications. All right. And then even under that, if you're a member of any advisory boards or anything like that, or if you have, any security awards from whatever the case may be, you can include that also in its own little section. But you want all that here in this area. So here you have, your degrees, and you always want to include what the program or major was, what school it was, and then the year you completed it. If it's still in progress, don't hesitate to put something on there if you're in the midst of working on it. All right. And the reason for that is, as long as you are working towards it actively, then there's no reason it can't be there. All right. So when I first got my CISSP and I was looking for work, I didn't have the final approval. It hadn't been signed off on yet, but I did pass the test. So I went through and I put CISP on there, and it said that it was just pending validation, which I don't see a problem with that as long as you are honest about what your where you are in the process. Then it's not a huge deal. And again, some people may look down on it, and if you have other advice, or if you have if you're a hiring manager and have seen things differently or prefer to see things differently, please leave a comment below and let us know. But in my experience, that's what I've done, and it's helped me out greatly because it shows you're still making progress and willing to learn. And then this was new to me, but again, talking to others and working it out, personal information. So this humanizes the person that is looking for a job. So instead of just being someone that's all tech or management or something like that, it shows what you enjoy doing in your daily life. So if you have a wife and kids, and maybe you do martial arts, or like myself, I do blog posts and YouTube channel and things like that. I help my kids with schoolwork and work with them on their further education and development. Anything like that can go in there. Now, you don't want this to be a large section. One paragraph, maybe 2 or 3 sentences is more than inadequate to be able to get your voice out there, but you do want it known. Now, below that, and this is something that I tend to put into my resume, is core competencies. And the reason I put that in there is because, how do I put this? HR systems tend to look for keywords, right? So even though you may not have it in a certification, or it may not be, exactly in the verbiage of what your professional experience is. So maybe, you've done pen testing, but you didn't necessarily use ParrotSec or Kali Linux. Maybe you used Ubuntu and something else, but in your free time, that's what you use for Hack the Box or something like that. It's Kali or Parrot OS. Then you still have a core competency in it. You still use it. Maybe you just didn't use it in a professional line of work. So this is your way of any tools, any techniques, any software, or anything you've used in the past, you can put here as long as you know what you're talking about. Because anything you want to put on your resume, you want to be able to speak to. So if I put on there Python scripting. Well, I've done Python scripting. I've done some toying around and fixing some scripts that maybe didn't work right for me. I've gone through courses on it. So I have a good head on my shoulders and can read Python. And I've developed a few of my own scripts, even though they may not be on GitHub or something like that. But because I can do that, because I can speak to it, then it's okay to put on there. Professional experience. Now, this is where some people get confused or lost or don't know exactly what to do. Now, I will go back as far as my military career when it comes to professional experience. So I'm looking at probably the past since 2004. But others don't have that depth or that breadth of experience, which is okay. If you're still new to the field, if you're still new to IT, it's not a problem. As long as you list what you have done that in your work experience that is relevant to the field. All right. So, here you would put stuff like you worked at an MSSP. They're based out of this location from what year. And if you're still there, or if you left them last year, 2019 to 2020 or 2018 to 2019, or, maybe you've been there longer. So we could say 2017 to, present, whatever the case may be. And then you go into what the job title is. So if you were a security engineer, if you were a security analyst, if you were a team lead for the analysts, whatever the case may be, you put that as job title. And then what all did you do? Excuse me. If you were an analyst, all right, what software did you work with? So I worked with ESM, evaluating logs and alerts and alarms and building out different roles, correlation roles, and things like that. If you worked with logarithm, if you were a pen tester, all right, so how many clients did you, you know, help out? How did you help those clients? Was it more web application pen testing? Was it more network? Was it physical? Was it social engineering? You list those things out that you actually accomplished. Some jobs may not want you to be as detailed, right? So they just want to know the basic premise. Okay, help 10 clients secure their network through offensive security means, or helped 15 clients, clean up from breaches after noticing incidents via McAfee ESM or Logarithm or Splunk. As long as you can quantify it, that's a big thing. So that's where your professional experience goes. Now, overall, the layout, as far as how I have borders and bold and some of the stuff centered, it doesn't necessarily have to look like this. You can do it all left aligned and just make your sections even. As long as it looks professional, then it's not a huge deal. Like I said, this is just a template that I picked up years ago and I've been using ever since. But what I want everybody else to get from this is just what should be included. All right. Again, you can take away the bars. You can just make sure that everything is spaced correctly and it's line by line. That's fine too. All right. Don't feel that you need to make it look very pretty or have graphics and pictures and make it, very extravagant. It doesn't have to be. It's supposed to be a professional resume, so make it look professional. Now, if you want to link to maybe a blog really about you, then by all means, all right. If you want to link to your YouTube channel like I do, then cool, all right, have at it. But, as far as what's on paper, you just want the most important information there. So, again, I hope this helps. I hope this is something that, you find of value. And if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, feel free to add it to the comments. I'm, definitely okay if you have something better or a better idea of how these should look. I'm sure everybody else would be appreciative of that as well. And if you could subscribe to this channel, I'd appreciate that. And thank you for watching.